I think finally, a very good question from Tim Scott. Should all powers that have been taken by the government, all the powers, be handed back once we get through this and out the other end?
Well, whilst I think that would be wonderful, my fear is that they'll say we've never got through it and out the other end, and there will always be some way of delaying us getting those powers back. And I think that is the battle which will come next year. I mean, you said it at the start, David, the sort of this new normal. We've got to power on through that and make sure we get basically it's about holding the powerful to account, making sure the public have their voice heard. And the one thing I would like looked into, which sort of alludes a little bit to an answer Philip gave earlier, when this was all about building capacity for the NHS, for the intensive care wards and the hospitals. What happened to those Nightingale hospitals? How many billions did we hand over? Why aren't people with COVID needs going there? 7 of them across the country. So I think there's lots of questions that are going to come next. And why did they make those £1 billion decisions when they couldn't ever fill them with staff or make them sort of COVID compliant?
Yeah, Tim's right. The government do need to give up these powers, but the problem, I think Esther's right. I don't think they will. And of course, what they'll do is they'll use this as a reason as to why they always need to have these powers in reserve to act swiftly if anything like that happens again. And actually, for me, the pandemic has been a really good reason as to why the government shouldn't have these powers in reserve, to be perfectly honest, and should have to come and get them each time they want them. But I think the chance of that happening are remote. I mean, governments, and particularly the civil service, because they're always in government, they want to keep these powers in perpetuity. It's...
And just an example, we voted against the extension of the emergency powers. How many people were in that lobby with us voting against the government having an emergency powers going forward? Was it like 6?
I can't remember which vote was which.
So what I'm saying is, think of all of those MPs who should have said now, emergency powers are for emergency. We're 6 months in. You really don't need them going forward. Well, trust me, there wasn't very many brave MPs saying or doing that and wanting proper debate, discussion and questioning on the floor of the House.